What is up, guys? Ivan here with getivan.com, and in this video I'm going to go start to finish on email verification process using Atomic Web, and I am going to demonstrate how well this program does by running it through Debounce after we do our initial verification. So let me start in this folder. In this example, I'm going to be doing Chinese food. So this is a bunch of Yellow Pages scrapes that I did a while back, and I need to compile these records. So I'm going to come up here and go to command prompt. And normally if you're in C drive, you just have to do D: to switch to the right drive, and then, but since I'm already in here, I can do CD space and paste. I'm in the right area. I'm going to do copy *.txt and then 0 combine.txt. So that'll work for a moment here. And while that's working, I'll explain, I guess, what's coming here. I'm combining all of these into one file, obviously, and then I'm going to delete the rest. And once I have that big file, I'll run it through Scrapebox to do duplication removal for duplicated listings in general. And then I'll run that through, let's see, this grab check. So grab emails from a local list. So that'll let me obviously grab the emails, and then I can run that again to deduplicate the actual emails. And then once we have that list, then we can go into Atomic and run our cursory email verification. All right, so let's see how it's doing. Looks like it's an N. Pause this for a moment. Alrighty, looks like it's finished. So now I'm going to go to the folder, and you see it's right here, 0 combine.txt, 180K in size. I'm gonna go ahead and delete these. And now I just have my file remaining. And the taxonomy is, I think, kind of important. So you definitely want to do something organized and try to stick with it. So that way it's easier to handle the files. So this is Chinese food, PHP Scripts in the USA. And then we'll just leave it at that because it's unscrubbed. So then I'm going to come over here to Scrapebox, go to text file tool, and come over here to the Chinese food area. Let me make sure I'm still recording. Yeah, okay. So Chinese food file. Give me a moment here. I'm a little bit all over the place. And going to distribute to the same place, but then this one's going to be called scrubbed with a dash. That way we can add strings to the end and stay really organized. So this might take a minute because there's 180 megabytes worth of text data in there. All right, so wrote about 8K lines. Geez, it's a pretty big file. All right, so let's close that. Let's take a look at the folder. 180K down, 180 megabytes down to about 19. So I'm going to delete the old one. It's big, it's cumbersome file, so we don't need it. We got the scrubbed one now. Let's get the emails. Let's grab them from the local list. And it takes like no time. It's awesome. Watch this. And it's done. So there was in this particular case, there are 20K lines, and there just wasn't that many emails. There wasn't as many emails as there could be in some other niche. So it depends on it varies from niche to niche. So you could use those URLs it depends on where you're getting them. Obviously, if you're getting them from sites, then you could use those for contact form posting. In this case, we're scraping the emails directly. So let's export. What's this filter here? Oh, okay. Oh, you know what? I want to filter emails containing info, and I need to grab my list of catch-all type prefixes. Hold on one second. So here's a list I have. I just did to find this, I did just a Google search on role-based email prefixes and collected this from, might have been a Salesforce document. So these are some pretty common ones. Just going to copy this, remove emails containing all these, keep emails containing everything else. So let's start that again. Not sure that worked. Let's try this again. From local list, opening this, start this. Okay, that's the same. Maybe none of them. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to export. And same folder, I'm going to do UTF-8. Always do UTF-8 if you can, if you have a choice. And then in terms of the encoding down there, encoding file format on text files, scrubbed, and then it'll be grabbed emails, taxonomy there. I'm going to do enter. Close this. And I'm going to scrub that list. So text file, let's open that up. Do the grabbed emails one, and then same one, except it'll be grabbed emails, scrubbed. So we're kind of explaining the whole history there. And that one cut away about 1,000 lines, so that's good. And close. So at this point, we are finally ready to actually do verification inside of Atomic Email Studio. So I'm going to go to import, going to go open file. I'm going to select scrubbed, grabbed email scrubbed. And do I even need to keep? I'm going to keep this because it could be used. You never know. This could be used for some other purpose. This right here is not, however, useful. Okay, so I'm going to do this, scrubbed, open this. 5,600 or so contacts. I'm going to do verify email addresses. It's going to open a different section of the studio specifically for email verification. Then this is where it gets interesting now. Atomic Web or Atomic Email Studio email verifier has 3 different options: a direct connection, a web script, a web script, and a proxy connection. So under common settings, I'm not going to go into all of this stuff because there's some sensitive data back here. In the proxy section, it's really self-explanatory. You put your proxies, you can paste your proxies in there, and then set the number of threads. And obviously, the threads are going to go, with 1 thread per proxy. But on the direct connection, I'm able to run 100 threads on the direct connection straight from my computer and its IP and my ISP's default SMTP. And so that was confusing. Just know that it's basically default set here under SMTP. I'm not going to show you because it shows some sensitive data from my IP and my SMTP connection, but it's already default set here. All you have to do is come into these areas, into this area and then this area, and then set the connections to like 100. I think 100 might be the maximum in this program. I'm not sure. I tried to set it to 999 just to see what I was able to get away with, and it snapped, one of the areas snapped to 100. So that's what I've been doing. Now, PHP Scripts is a really interesting section. I have not tested this, but it's really interesting. They provide you a script that you can then put onto a web server in a folder or something, and then you basically just take the URL address of that script and you put it here. And so what the program does is that it typically has to, as you see down here, it has to have port 25 open, and that's not open on certain VPS servers. And so if that's the case, you can use this web script to run verification, sort of like you're using the script on another server that you're using the script on another server remotely for its whatever, its resources, or however you want to do it. But then I guess you can have this program on another desktop. But I was getting a little bit lost there in trying to explain it, because I was thinking about the threads and how the CPUs work. Down here you see the number of threads for each script, and I was curious about that because if you're putting it on some remote server out there, then I would assume that would mean that it's using the threads of the CPU, and so it's not really that much. And I don't know why that would be more cost effective. I don't know why you would want to do that instead of using proxies, but because of the way that this works here with the PC, it might allow you to use a lot more connections. So I'm not really sure, but it's really interesting, and I think something worth investigating if you might have a use for it. But for my purposes, I'm good to go on this desktop connection. So I'm going to first I've already got it set up, and I'm going to first do verify syntax. And so that's done. Everything is the right syntax in terms of how those email addresses are those strings of text are formed. Let me just scan through here and see if I spot any unusual prefixes, because I was kind of surprised that there were no role-based emails in that filter I did earlier. Let's verify domains. Oh, excuse me. Syntax, okay, I'm going to reset this. And this is going to be really fast. Should only take a few seconds. This process is quite quick. So you see up here, it already discovered a couple of hundred domains that are invalid. So let's go ahead and delete those incorrect ones. So that was really fast. And now we're going to verify the email addresses. So let's reset this. And you'll see it goes pretty quick. And there's a whole lot of them. A large portion, probably the majority every time, is going to be uncertain, or the yellow, the vague classification. And it's really cool because it gives you reasons, and it has log entries, so you can kind of see the errors thrown and what's going on. And you'll be able to tell what spam services are flagging you and stuff like that. And you'll see that here the IP was blacklisted, and that was just the 15th or 20th result. So there are lots and lots and lots of email traps, and that's why verification is so important. Let's see how we're doing. This says it's going to take a couple of minutes. We're about 13%, or actually, wait, we're about 35% or so. Or here it is, here, 40% total. So it's going pretty quickly. Let's skip to the end here. Okay, so we've got our verification complete, and it's pretty quick. I don't know if it tells us how long that took. It looks like maybe 4 minutes or so. That's pretty fast for about 5,000 emails. It looks like 36% valid, and the other 64.5% there in uncertain or invalid. Let's go ahead and delete the invalid and just take a brief look at some of these uncertainties. So the problem with so you can sort these by result and see that some of them are try to connect later, so they're kind of like pushing you off. Some of them are service temporarily unavailable. Some of them have rules set for certain criteria. To me, if a single IP is going to get banned that quickly by a number of things, then see blacklisted, gray listed, all kinds of associations, catch-alls. There's too much risk involved in some of these things, like connecting later. I mean, I think it's just really easier to just remove them all and stay with the ones that are absolutely clean. So I'm going to go ahead and just delete all of the mist. Now, something that I want to do, that leaves kind of a really small sample in this particular case. I've had some other ones, I just got finished doing carpet cleaning, for example, and that one resulted in maybe 6,500 valid emails. And so when you got the ones with no spam protection, I mean, to me, that just kind of seems like a no-brainer, a lot safer for your sending purposes, Now, my last test was 99% in line with Debounce, but there were still some spam traps that Debounce picked up on. So what I want to do is I want to run this again inside of what's this disposable? I didn't see that one. Let's just do clean all that. Okay, I want to run this again inside of Atomic and see if it's able to pick up on some other ones that maybe came back valid at first. So let me re-verify everything, reset all of the statuses, and let's see how it does again the second time around. Oh, uncertain, 2, 4. Let's see if we can check the error log and see what, okay, connection error. Let's just give it a second to finish. It's almost done. 22 of them. That's 1%. I don't know why it slowed down at the last moment there. Okay. So is it finished? It's hung up for some reason. Okay, there we go. It finished a minute and 40 seconds. And let's go ahead and sort this. So most of these are connection errors. Let me take a look at this. These seem to be all from lovinghut.us. So that's interesting. Since there's a pattern, I'm going to go ahead and just delete all of these missed. And let's run it again. I'm just going to run it. I'm just going to keep running it until it's just 100% if I can. Because I want to run these through Debounce after that. I want to see if it's possible to get the same exact result from this as it is to get from Debounce. So verify email. Let's reset all of these, and we'll skip ahead to the end. Okay, so that one looked like it was 7, so that's smaller. Let's take a look. Service temporarily unavailable. I'm going to take a look at these let's see what the other ones are. Connection error. Email domain has a catch-all function. That's interesting. I wonder why that wasn't caught before. So this one was no unauthenticated SMTP relaying permitted. So let's go ahead and remove all of those also. That makes sense. We'll do another sweep. Hopefully it won't just keep cannibalizing our stuff. And let's skip to the end. Okay, so that took about 1:40, and we have 6 uncertain. And I hope it doesn't just keep creating. Okay, catch all. Connection error. What am I doing? Well, I'm just. All right, let's just remove these and do another sweep. And skip to the end. So this one was only 4. Let's see what the server temporarily unavailable. Connection errors. I'm just going to go ahead and remove and skip ahead on another sweep. Okay, so this one was about as fast, and 3 of them came back as uncertain. Catch all functions. Go ahead and remove those. And so we've run more than a few extra sweeps, and probably lost 40 or 50, I guess, of these uncertain emails and these extra sweeps. The first one, I think, wasn't it somewhere around 20? So that one was that's probably a reasonable one. So after you do the first sweep, you do another sweep, and then you move on. Let's go ahead and hop into Debounce and run that, and then see what kind of results we get. So let's see. Okay, so we're looking at my processing tab here, and I don't have anything processing right now. So I'm going to go ahead and upload. The list I want to upload. Oh, shoot. I forgot to export the file. Lol. Okay, so this is finished. Export. Save to, actually, no, we don't want to do that. I want to do export wizard. We're going to turn off these columns and statuses. Open after export text file, save. And we're going to save it under the same umbrella here, but then we're going to put a dash and do atomic verified save. And I'm going to come down here and delete that last space, save this, close this, and then we're going to go into Debounce. So choose list, select atomic verified, submit. Okay, so I got it in there, and it didn't have any problems taking that text file. And this is actually, I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking this was like 5K records, but it's only 1900, so that's only a couple of bucks. So when you're doing larger numbers, it's roughly, depending on the quantity of credits you're buying, like if you're spending about $50 on each batch, for example, which is pretty reasonable, like you're getting a pretty good rate. It's something like 0.001 cents per verification, I think. So it's something like $1 per 1,000 or so. Excuse me. It gets a lot cheaper as you buy more credits, but that's not too bad. But obviously, if you're running bigger numbers, it can get expensive. So if we can figure out a way to bypass Debounce, or even maybe justify a really low margin for bounce rate, then that's really great. But I'm running it through Debounce right now because I'm really curious about how close did atomic get. So let's go ahead and skip to the end and see what we find. Okay, so essentially this is just about finished. I'm going to go ahead and discuss these results here before it moves from the processing tab, because I'm trying to keep some of my back-end information on my sensitive data off the video here. So in this run here, it looks like there's one email it's processing. It's trying to run this gray listing check on it, I guess. But yeah, I mean, deliverability is so close to 100% that it's just delivering. It's just throwing it as 100. It's just rounding up. It looks like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them were still unknown or invalid entities, or apparently there was one of them was a spam trap. Since the spam trap is not since all of these are not in the trap, I mean, we're going for only the ones that basically don't have spam protection, then that really shouldn't be a problem. I mean, Debounce is slightly better, but paying $2 for something, or a few bucks rather than nothing, I mean, that's a gulf. That's a gulf of a difference there. So I think this has been a pretty successful case study demonstrating that something like Atomic Email Studio can be extremely, extremely cost effective. This batch was only 1,900 records, and I spent a bunch of time talking and showing process. So there are certain things, that you could do to speed up certain facets, and you could certainly bundle more data into one, batch, and then deal with it that way. I ran, a number of sweeps also, but let's see how long this. Roughly 25 minutes. So I'm pretty confident that one could cut that time in half, and with be using larger lists. So, but that pretty much summarizes this whole thing. From here, obviously, we would take our squeaky clean list and hop over into some sort of sending platform. Atomic Web, or Atomic, I don't know why I keep calling it Atomic Web. Atomic Email Studio also has a sending capability if you have the full studio. So you could use something like that. You could, there's just so many things you could use. So I don't think I'll make any recommendations on this video, but you need some sort of platform. You'd go into your platform, upload your lists, and then start constructing your sequences. And if you plan it well enough, you can plan those sequences to run over the course of a pretty long period of time. So that's it. I appreciate you watching, and like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.